our second round rules. Everything gets doubled from the first round. A great take gives you 400 points. A good take gives you 200 points. An okay take gives you 100. And a bad take, still 0. 0 points right there. It's a little bit of a painful one for me because Purdue knocked out my Tennessee Volunteers on Easter Sunday. Zach Edey dropped 41 points. I believe 41 points in this game. Was absolutely dominant from start to finish. He's had a remarkable tournament. He's likely going to be the Naismith Player of the Year for the second year in a row, even though it should be Dalton Kennett of Tennessee. Neither here nor there, but there's a lot of debate, right? He's 7'4". He's dominating the college game to the level that he is. But there's questions like, can he guard the perimeter in the NBA, again, at his size and his maybe lack of agility? Can he shoot? That has been a major question that we have really yet to get a solid answer to in a positive respect. So I will ask you, Keith, will Zach Edey be successful at the next level in the NBA next year?
Oh, I think he'll definitely be successful. I mean, if you look at him, he sort of, I try to look at guys, what they would be like as pros. To me, he sort of moves like a Zubac. And like you said, I think his defense is probably going to be the weakest part of his game. But I think he could go into the NBA tomorrow and he could give you a double-double. He seems like he's got the skills to score in the post, just defensively and in transition. He's going to get hurt running up and down the court a little bit, but without a doubt, in the half court, he can score.
Yeah, he can, and that's sort of the strength of his game. Like when he's operating in a set half court offense, like that's Purdue has some really good point guards getting the ball in good positions down there in the post. But like you said, defensively, like I argued on social media and even on my show that for my Vols to win, I think that our head coach, our outstanding, should be a Hall of Fame head coach, Rick Barnes, should actually, as crazy as this sounds, maybe go small. Whereas obviously you may get torched by him inside, which you did anyway. But you play small ball, you play the 5 out, make him guard the perimeter, get him in foul trouble, yes. And make Purdue's head coach, be forced to sub him out of the basketball game. So, yes. For all those reasons, those things are certainly limitations. So, in general, I will, if I can get this point total up here, I'll give you a good take, Keith. I do think there are some components of his game that could translate. He does have good footwork. He's good in a setup, like you said.
I don't think he's. I don't think he's, I would pump the brakes on, maybe an all-star right away or not even superstar. Oh, no. I'd pump the brakes on all that stuff, but he can play in the NBA.
Yeah, and that's the thing is we've seen Luka Garza comes to mind, who played, ironically, we just talked about the school, Iowa, the last few years. Right now he's a bench warmer for the Minnesota Timberwolves. So I think, honestly, as harsh as it sounds, that's kind of my comp for Zach Edey, but we'll see what comes. To you, John Rivera, do you think Zach Edey will be successful at the next level in the NBA starting next year?
First and foremost, if you make the league, you're successful, man. Like, you won. Like, that's your childhood dream to just make the league in general. But you got guys that, have good runs or whatever, Doug McDermott, Duke's guy over here, Barry Grant, Grayson Allen, like, some type of players, like Grayson Allen sucks, but some type of players that still, be on the NBA roster. So a success, like I said, is making the NBA in general. So he could be a good role player, you know what I mean? As long as you can shoot, these days, man, like going to Caitlin Clark, like as long as you can shoot, bro, you can be on the NBA roster, man. So he would definitely be drafted and he'll make a good impact, you know what I mean, on a, say like a veteran team, because he won't go top 10 or nothing like that. So if he goes in the teams, he can go to a team like Barry's Lakers or your Golden State, like, add to a veteran team where he can play some good minutes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, listen, I would not be happy if the Golden State Warriors took Zach Edey, because that to me would just totally disrupt. It would clog up the paint for Steph and for whoever else is there. I don't know what's going to happen with Clay or Draymond, but that could potentially be frustrating. But listen, you bring up some good points, like about his ability to score down low, but like you said also, like, and I've said this for years I guess for years. Like if you look at superstars, like the true great top 10 players in the NBA right now, the only guy who can get away with not being a great shooter is Giannis, and that's because he's an absolute force down low and is almost impossible to stop. I don't think Zach Edey is that. But listen, in the big picture, you are right. You make the NBA, you're one of the best basketball players in the world. You obviously did pretty well for yourself. So I'm going to give you a good take, John. John, get you to 400 points and a slight lead over Keith right now before we get to Barry. Yeah, I think there are components of his game that do translate, but again, major flaws would really make me hesitant to think that he's going to have any sort of long-term success at the next level. To you, Barry, finally, do you think Zach Edey will be successful at the NBA level?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I am not somebody at this point of my life to write off anybody because I've seen too much basketball and I've seen too many kids be told that they're not good enough to make the league. And then when they end up getting to the league, they end up having very, very successful careers. Gilbert Arenas was pushed to the second round. We saw what the hell happened to him. Other players come to mind. Even a guy like Brian Carroll that I said when he got drafted, right? Didn't think he was going to end up being what he is right now. And look where he is. Anthony Davis. When a guy like Anthony Davis got drafted, yeah, people thought that he was really good. But did they think that he was going to be as good as he is now? No. So we don't know what these guys are capable of. Even a guy like Tyler Hansborough, when he was in college, wasn't really heavy athletic, right? He was dominating in college, but he had a pretty solid NBA career. If you think about it, if you look at his numbers, right? He wasn't a superstar, but he was a damn good role player for many years. So that's pretty much all you're looking for, is a guy that has the IQ that Edey has. He's going to be able to adapt his game somehow. If he's not going to be able to be rim running big, he's going to be able to try to find his spot somewhere. He can shoot. He has some skill to him around the basket. So there's always going to be a place for a guy like that, especially because I think at some point the NBA is going to go back to having dominant bigs very soon. The game is it's always an evolving thing, but you always start to see little specks of the past come back a little bit. So I think I'm gonna see that, or we're gonna see that happen at some point, and a guy like Zach Edey is gonna be able to thrive in that particular situation.
Yeah, he could, and I definitely agree with you that the league is certainly shifting to more of a bigs league. You always talk about Jokic. We're going to talk about Embiid at the end of the show. We see what Wemby's doing, Giannis, Anthony Davis. Like, again, these guys are making massive impacts for their teams right now. And so, yeah, like from that perspective, again, I don't think Zach Edey's going to reach anything close to any of those guys' level. But yeah, I do think, again, like being 7'4" does matter. There's a reason that you can't, what they say, you can't teach 7 feet tall. Like you're either that or you don't. And so, and again, I do give him credit. Like I'm watching the Tennessee game or Purdue against Tennessee and watching previous games he's played. His footwork down the paint's really good. He's got a nice soft touch down there. So, can he develop that? Can he sort of expand his game? Maybe even, it doesn't have to be like a 3-point shooter necessarily, but can he be able to knock down a mid-range from like the free throw line? Jokic,
yeah, I mean, think about
it. That.
A prime example. Look at a guy like Brook Lopez, right? Brook Lopez really found a place in this league from being a back to the basket big, wasn't a great rebounder, but now he's a guy that can knock down and hit 200 threes a season. So this is a guy that's had the IQ to be able to adjust to the league and what was needed for him to be able to be successful. So I don't see Zach Edey he can be able to do the same thing.
Yeah, he could. And for that, I'm going to give you a good take, get you to 300 points here, tied with Keith, 100 points behind John. I will have to super quick. This is completely off topic, but I just have to have you on the record now that we're on the show right now. You, my friend, were a bit skeptical about that guy in San Antonio, Mr. Wembanyama.
I still am.
Are you? What's that?
I still am.
Oh, man. Okay. We'll move on.
It's 1 year. You need to show me more than one season. Listen, I'm tired of people talking about all these things in 1 year. What ends up happening if Wembanyama gets hurt next year and then he ends up being Ben Simmons or he ends up being Zion? You don't know. He's not going to be Zion or Ben Simmons. You got to give it some time, man. He's having a good rookie season, but let's cool out. Let's relax.
He's going to be one of the 10 best players ever when he retires. Calling it right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just putting it on the record. Put it on the record. Real quick, we do have some comments here on the show. Our guy EJ Savage, who did host the 8 o'clock spot a few weeks ago. Shout out to him. Eddy, LOL. It's actually Edey. Shifting. Let's see. We got WBH Radio, Mr. Grant, shutting Barry out right now in the comments. The return of the bigs. Tell me about it. There's no question. The league is definitely. Listen, you're going to have your Stephs. You're going to have your John Morants. Kind of your smaller players. Be successful, but by and large, the NBA, you look at the greatest players ever. Look at the top 10 guys. Only Steph and Michael Jordan are 6'6" and below. Like everybody else is by and large big guys.